What if a single geopolitical move could shake the global economy overnight? Not a missile strike, not a cyber attack, but a strategic decision involving one of the most important waterways on Earth. The country at the center of this discussion is Iran, and the nations most affected could include the United States and its Western allies. But what exactly is this move analysts are talking about? Is it realistic or just geopolitical speculation? And why do experts say that one location in the Middle East could influence the entire global economy? Let's break down the strategy, the risks, and the global consequences. In geopolitics, geography often shapes power. Throughout history, certain locations have held enormous strategic importance. These locations influence trade routes, military strategy, and economic stability. In the Middle East, one of the most strategically significant locations is the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean, and it plays a critical role in the global energy system. Understanding its importance helps explain why analysts frequently discuss Iran's potential influence over global energy markets. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the busiest energy corridors in the world. A significant portion of global oil shipments pass through this narrow passage every day. Tankers carrying energy resources travel from Gulf producers toward global markets in Asia, Europe, and North America. Because of this, stability in the region is essential for global economic security. Even small disruptions in shipping can affect oil prices and financial markets. This is why governments around the world closely monitor developments in the region. And it's also why analysts sometimes ask an important question: what would happen if this route were disrupted? Iran sits along the northern coast of the Strait of Hormuz. This geographic position gives the country a unique strategic perspective. Iranian leaders have occasionally emphasized the importance of the strait when discussing regional security. For example, political leadership, including Ali Khamenei, has highlighted the country's strategic role in the region. At the same time, international shipping in the strait is governed by complex legal frameworks and monitored by multiple countries. Because of this, any disruption would have wide-ranging diplomatic and economic consequences. But the conversation about this scenario often appears in geopolitical discussions because of its potential global impact. If shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz were disrupted, global markets would likely react quickly. Energy prices often respond to uncertainty in supply routes. Even speculation about disruptions can influence oil prices and investor behavior. Countries that depend heavily on imported energy, particularly in Europe and Asia, would closely monitor such developments. This is why international energy markets pay attention to geopolitical signals in the Middle East. However, it's also important to understand that global systems are designed with contingency planning. Governments and companies maintain strategic reserves and alternative supply routes to reduce risk. While analysts sometimes discuss the possibility of disruption in the Strait of Hormuz, such scenarios involve enormous political and economic consequences. International trade routes are protected by diplomatic agreements, maritime law, and multinational cooperation. Any major disruption would likely trigger international diplomatic responses. Because of these factors, most governments prioritize stability and dialogue to avoid escalation. This highlights an important aspect of geopolitics. Strategic leverage does not always translate into action. Often it serves as part of broader diplomatic signaling. Major global powers maintain strong interests in maintaining stability in key maritime routes. Countries such as the United States and others often coordinate maritime security operations to ensure freedom of navigation. International organizations and alliances frequently cooperate to protect global trade. Because energy markets are interconnected, disruptions in one region can affect economies worldwide. This shared interest in stability is one reason global diplomacy plays such an important role in managing tensions. Looking ahead, geopolitical analysts will continue to monitor developments in the Middle East closely. Energy markets, trade routes, and regional diplomacy all influence the global economy. Technological changes, renewable energy growth, and evolving trade partnerships may gradually reshape the global energy system over time. But for now, strategic waterways like the Strait of Hormuz remain critical to global stability. 2830. 30 Wuwa closing plus audience engagement. Geopolitics often revolves around leverage, strategy, and geography. The discussion around Iran and the Strait of Hormuz highlights how a single location can hold enormous global significance. But it also reminds us how interconnected the modern world has become. Events in one region can ripple across the global economy. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think global energy systems will become less dependent on critical choke points like the Strait of Hormuz in the future? Or will these strategic locations remain central to world politics? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoy deep geopolitical analysis and global strategy breakdowns, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our next update.